This week, we'll be going over all of the achievements in the Beholder base game. Now, there are 60 achievements in total for this game, but only 38 are for the base game. The rest are all for the DLC. So today, we're just going to be going over those 38 base game achievements and how you can get them all done in just 2 playthroughs of the game. And this one was requested by Shteyn over on YouTube and Mark Renek over on our Discord. And now, let's get into it. So the easiest way to 100% this game would be to set things up as you go to get everything within 2 main runs where we reload certain parts to make some different choices. Similarly to how we would do a story-related game like Heavy Rain that I went through last year. So we'll go through what all we need to do to make sure we can get all of these during our 2 playthroughs and point out where we'll be getting these achievements as we go. Now, if you haven't done a blind playthrough or 2, you may want to go ahead and go do 1 or 2 of those because your decisions actually do matter and have repercussions throughout the rest of the game. Now, for our first playthrough, we're going to be setting things up to have our family die, we'll fail the final assessment, and we'll get some of the miscellaneous achievements. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to start a new game on the Government Elite mode. Quick note, we do have a lot of achievements with versions for both the Trainee mode and the Government Elite mode. Trainee is going to be an easier difficulty, so you'll get the 1, but if you do everything on Government Elite, you'll get both of those achievements for each area. So of course, we're going to do everything on Government Elite. You'll start going through the tutorial if needed, where you'll plant a couple of cameras and prove that you can spy on people to your boss. We'll then call the ministry and start working on our tasks. They'll have you plant a camera in Manishek's apartment, profile him, and then they're gonna want you to report him for something illegal. He happens to make drugs at the table that's under your camera, but before we actually complete this, we're gonna go ahead and get white papers blackmails for blackmailing a tenant. To do this, you'll go to the blackmail letter option and use the making drugs evidence to blackmail him. Once set, he'll drop the money in the plant and you can grab that. Of course, you can get this when blackmailing any tenant, we're just going to do it here because it's the first opportunity. We can then go ahead and get not a big dealer for reporting the drug maker. You'll do this, of course, just by waiting for him to make drugs again, record that, and then report him to finish that task and get this achievement. You can then keep going normally, profiling and talking to everyone. You'll want to move in Jones and Spack pretty quickly to go ahead and profile them and get their stuff moving. While profiling all the tenants, you can also get billing them softly for being caught in theft. You'll just have to steal 3 items in a row from one of the apartments and the cops will come. Then you can either bribe them, pay the fine, or just reload your last save. Then we can also go ahead and get No Man's Spy for going to your mailbox and revealing the hidden area of the newspaper. Then just go over to your phone, call that number, and answer yes. That'll get you that secret ending and a little Easter egg referencing a now pretty dope space game. And now you'll have 2 tasks, the one to investigate Schimmer and the one to help your family. For this run, we're just going to ignore our family's task, so don't worry about that stuff. You can go ahead and go through the one to investigate Schimmer though, and when talking to Mark Renek, you'll want to tell him the truth. You'll also want to make sure that you talk to Spack and ask how it's going to get some whiskey. And once Jones has his mission, he'll give you a special offer to sell some fish. Also be sure to steal any items that will eventually be illegal so that you can use those as blackmailing or reporting items. Once you profile Klaus, the ministry will ask you to evict him. First we'll get I choose violence for dishousing Klaus in a hard way. So go plant something illegal in the Schimmer's apartment with either an apple, soda, or something like that. And then report Klaus with our planted evidence. After he's taken away, we can go ahead and get I did nothing for forcing a tenant to commit suicide. You'll talk to Maria about Klaus, ask her about the arrest, and eventually tell her that he'll be jailed for life or even shot. This'll upset her and she'll go inside to, Then we can load back the ministry order save so we can tell Klaus about the order and work on My Heart Will Go On for setting the Shimmers off on the barge. If you offer to help Klaus, he'll end up getting you the Papers, Please task. For this one, you'll need to go talk to Mark about helping him, tell the true story, talk to him again, give him the whiskey we got from Spack earlier, and then he'll go to get you the certificate you need for Klaus. Meanwhile, you'll also want to go talk to Nathan the merchant about the can of fish Jones gave you earlier. He'll take it to go sell, and when he comes back the next day, he'll only have $1,500. So then once he and Mark return, you can go give Klaus the certificate. He'll tell you about how they still can't leave, but that's fine, we do have a backup plan. We're gonna go talk to Jones about the fish since you don't have all of the money. You're gonna offer to earn the money and propose that the Shimmers go with him on the barge. You can then go back and talk to Klaus again to let him know, and you'll get this achievement. We're going to load that ministry order save again, and now, this time we're going to go through all of the same steps, but instead of giving Nathan the fish using the dialogue option, we'll just trade it to him and sell it for $3,000. Then go ahead and report Jones to get him out of there and take his items from the box since we're done with him at this point. And around this time, we can go ahead and do the Pimp My Bride achievement for finding a woman for Shpak. At some point, Shpak will pop up with the Lonely Aloysius task. First, we'll talk to him to get this task, then go talk to Rosa Renek about it, and she'll have the perfect person for him, her niece. Then we can go tell him about her, and he'll be so excited. And at some point, Sarah will show up, and you can talk to her and introduce her to Shpak. Eventually, after they move in together, Shpak will ask you to gather data on Sarah. Logically, you would think talking to her aunt about her would work, but plot twist, this is an imposter. At this point, we can get Dementia and Courage for drinking the poisoned coffee, and Die Like You Mean It for being killed by a tenant. So you'll go talk to Sarah to confront her with this information, refuse her bribe, stop the conversation to throw her out, and then take her drink and drink it to get both of those. There are plenty of ways to get Die Like You Mean It, but this is just an efficient way to get these done. You'll then load up your Lonely Aloysius save, and this time we're going to grab the mail to see an ad for a girl looking for a man. So you're going to call her on your phone, tell Shpak about it, and then he's going to ask us to get some chocolate, which you can either steal from someone or just buy from Nathan. During this time, you're going to get more tasks from your family, but just keep ignoring all of those. Remember, this run is to allow them all to die. So eventually Shpak will ask for Clara to move in, and you can get an extra 1,000 out of him to allow that. Clara will later ask you for some liquor, which you can give her whatever kind you end up having on hand at that point, and she'll have some fun. Shpak thinks that she has a little bit too much fun for him though, so he'll ask you to get rid of her. Well, coincidentally, this is how we're going to be getting Bahama Mama for setting the Shimmers off to cruise by completing this, but also setting up for a future achievement. So for this, we'll go the route of talking to Clara and bribing her 5,000 to leave. She'll get out of there, and then Shpak is going to give you 2 cruise tickets. You can then go ahead and give those to the Shimmers for the Bahama Mama achievement. After you complete the Shimmers task, you're going to get the propaganda one, which is easy enough to do, and then a riot will cause you to have to repair your apartments. Once that's done, you can move in Doranol and Fulfidel Brukic. You can profile them, but don't worry about talking to Fulfidel. After he moves in, George Danton will show up outside and ask you to take a box to him. Just go ahead and take care of that, and at some point around here, your wife is going to ask you to buy a radio. This is the one task for your family that you actually need to do this run, as it's required for a future achievement as well. We'll also need to try to spy on Dora for a bit during this time to do her task. Eventually, while you're spying on her, you're going to see that she has insomnia. Talk to her about it, spend 300 reputation, and she'll give you some background information and ask for something to help. You can then buy some narcotics from Nathan if you don't already have some, and then give those to her. Eventually, she'll have a new mission for you. She wants you to buy her a gun. Well, go ahead and buy one from Nathan unless you already have one, and go ahead and give it to her. Eventually, her husband will move in, and she'll shoot him. Of course, as you can imagine, this gets her arrested, so you can take her stuff then, but she'll also be sending you mail later on giving you some money as a reward. At some point, you'll also receive a call asking to move in Leo Gvizdek. Do that and then talk to him about his tie issue and give him one. Then shortly after that, he'll ask you for help with his investments, and we'll tell him to invest it in fruit and berry farms because I'm a little lad who loves berries and cream. Plus, he'll eventually send you some mail with $10,000, so that's kind of worth it. Then you'll get a call from Danton asking you to move in Antoine Grubik. Go ahead and do that and agree to spy on him. You'll have to profile him and report him for his illegal fish to find out that he's actually working for the government. He'll then have a quest for you to give him some scissors and paint, which you can find both in your apartment. Then after you complete that, Danton will call you and you can let him know that Antoine is working for the government. Then with him leaving, you can go ahead and start moving in the next 3 people, Angel, Margaret, and Rowena. Rowena is the only one that really does anything that matters, so feel free to get rid of the other 2, and honestly, Rowena doesn't even really matter for what we are trying to do. Sometime after that, when you have another apartment open, we can move in Albert Meineke, and get not so dumb for finding out that he isn't actually mute. So you'll need to spy on him, whether it's from the cameras in his place or just by looking through the door and catch him talking on the phone. Then confront him about it and you'll get the achievement. We can then go ahead and go through his task by learning his story without using reputation and agree to help him. You'll need to bring him 3 passports, which you should be able to get from the tenants that you've been evicting, or just go steal some or buy them from Nathan. Once you have them, go give them to him and you can then move in Bastian and Clara. That name sounds a little familiar. Well, once she's there, you can get easy virtue for having Clara live there twice. She's the same person we had get with Spack before and ask to leave, so when you talk to her, she's still not too happy with you, but she will get you this achievement. Once the propaganda truck moves in, you'll get another call from Danton asking you to sabotage it. Go ahead and accept that to start no more propaganda. Around this time, you'll also have a call to move in General Errol Johnson, which you'll need to do quickly. We can then go ahead and get Dirty Hands for taking part in the attempt on the life of the General. Danton will call you asking you to check and find out if he's the Aglo Butcher, so you'll need to search his place for anything that would confirm that. Once that's found, you can call Danton back and he'll ask you to kill him. You can buy some poison from Nathan if you don't already have some, then talk to the General and try to poison him. Once you give that to him, he'll drink it and the achievement will pop. During this time, you'll likely also get a call to move in Igna Birkenfield. Go ahead and do that when you're able to. And as timers run out for your family quest, you'll start losing family members. Beholden to No One you'll get as the last one dies, which will likely be Patrick once he robs a bank and is killed. Now back over to the no more propaganda task, we'll need to talk to the driver and use 500 rep to find a way of changing the settings on our own. So first, we're going to get bad time stories for changing the frequency to a children's radio station. You'll talk to him again, give him some rum so that he'll leave, and then you can use a screwdriver to get into the truck. If you're needing any of those items at this point, you can just go buy them from Nathan. Once in the truck, we can put in the code, which would be the second option, and then change the frequency to 81.6 for the creepy stories and get this achievement.
Hello, little one.
Remember, this will only be an option if you bought the radio for your wife earlier in the game. Then reload that last save, repeat all of that, but change the frequency over to 101.9 for the freedom frequency. But the truck will shortly be destroyed after that, and we can move on from there. Now after all of that, you'll get a call about a bomb being in your building. You could search for it, but it's just in the left washing machine in the basement. So grab that, talk to the ministry, and you'll have to go grab the mail to see the diagrams that they sent you. And now, it's time to defuse it. Just cut the wires in the order of red, green, black, and then blue. Now you can let the ministry know, and it'll start the last countdown before your review. You'll then receive a call to kill Igna Birkenfield, so we'll buy some arsenic if you don't already have it, talk to Igna, try to poison her, and pay a compliment. She'll drink that arsenic and die. Once the ministry orders you to complete the task of profiling 5 tenants, just ignore that and speed up time until the change is coming timer runs out. At this point, we'll get both Brave New World and Patria o Muerte for New Tomorrow winning. This is for helping Danton out so much throughout the game. We'll also receive both War Never Changes and War is Peace for the war still continuing on the border. This is for not continuing one of the side quests, which we'll end up doing on a different run. Then you'll also get Fired Out of a Cannon and Validol or Validation for Carl failing the fit and proper test, and lastly Iron Curtain for Carl staying in the country. Now we can load the citizen registration save and go back to talk to George Drayman about the border situation. Then talk about immigration, no documents, and he'll give you a reduced price to leave the country. You'll also have Gene Owen show up outside, which you can talk to and contribute $5,000. Then the next time Nathan comes by, you can now talk to him and ask about making a lot of money by cockfighting. And you can bet on the Wise Chief for another $5,000. Then just fast forward to the next time he comes by and he'll give you $50,000 in winnings. Now you can talk to Bruno, who's been standing outside, and choose to make a state contribution, You can now just speed up time until the timer ends, and you'll get both freedom as slavery and ignorance as power for the state influence upon the citizen's life increasing. Then reload citizen registration again and repeat all of the steps to get our cockfighting money again. This time, however, we're going to talk to Bruno and just choose to save ourselves and let the timer run out again. This time we're going to get both Citizen Shteyn and Gold Standard for Carl becoming a gold standard of a model citizen and being cloned. And now for our last reload of this playthrough, we're going to reload citizen registration and immediately talk to George about leaving the country again, and choose to do it without money. This will end the game and get you both Stop or I'll Shoot and Borderline Disorder for Carl being caught on the border while trying to escape. If you made it this far in the video, be sure to let me know down in the comments what you thought about the game, hit the like button, subscribe for more achievement guides, and if you want to support the channel even further, hit the join button to become a member. Now time to start a completely new playthrough. For this one, our objectives will be to keep everyone in our family alive, all of us escape the country, and end the war. The family part is very tough and costs you a lot of money to do on Government Elite. I made a video going over tips on making money quickly to do this, so go ahead and check that out to get a better idea of all the ways you can stack your money to pay for everything we'll need to pay for on this run. Starting out, we'll do everything like normal, but to get Family Guy for getting on track with your family, you'll need to do all of the tasks for Trust and Care. The doll you can get from the right bedroom in your apartment, and the rest of the items you'll get from the Shimmers. You'll go through these early quests like normal, but be sure to sell Jones Fish directly to Nathan by trading, and do not start the Lonely quest for Shpak. You'll want that one to go away so that he'll live there indefinitely, or at least until he saves our daughter. You'll want to do all of the tasks for your family as they come up, but of course with this playthrough we're going to be waiting until the last 10 or so hours of every task to make sure that we can get as much money as possible. Go ahead and do these until you get to the point of needing to find a doctor. Now at some point after you get a save, you can get Parental Control for reporting Martha. At some point, reading books will become illegal and you can likely catch her doing that. So either do that and report her, or plant something illegal in your apartment and report her that way. The ministry doesn't like that though, so then you will have to reload. At this point you'll have to talk to Shpak and he'll advise that he can get the medicine, but it'll cost $20,000. You'll also have to pay for Patrick's school around this time, which of course you'll also want to do. There'll be more small things to buy for Martha, so do all of those, and eventually you'll get to the part where you have to get some lung syrup for her. You could buy this from Nathan, but there's also a task from Danton that you can do later on that will allow you to get it for free, so that's how we're gonna do it. Eventually, of course, you'll need to move in Dora Knoll and Fulfeedle. Same drill as last time, we'll do the task for Danton to bring Fulfeedle the box. You'll want to go ahead and do Dora's tasks for her insomnia and buying her the gun so that you can get the money in the mail from her later on. And once you're asked to move in Leo, we'll do the same thing as last time, where you do his tasks and tell him to invest in fruit and berry farms so we can get another $10,000 from him in the mail. Now for the last major money sink from Patrick, he's going to ask you to pay for him to leave the country with his girlfriend. Make sure you get the money for this, as he has to get out for everyone to survive. And then at some point, Danton will call you asking you to move in Antoine Grubik, and you'll need to mention Martha's medicine. This is the way that we're going to get that medicine for free. So then you're going to move in Antoine and do everything like you did last time, but when Danton calls back asking about him, you'll need to tell him no, your protege is doing fine. A little later on, Anna's going to come to you with a note which has a number to call. It's just Grubik asking to live with you. So you'll do that, and eventually Danton will show up outside. At this point, you'll talk to him and let him know that Grubik is in your basement, and he'll give you the medicine for Martha. This is the last part of saving Martha, so now that part is finally done. You'll move in the rest of the tenants, and once you get to Albert Meineke, we'll have a few things to do with him. Just make sure you catch him on the phone, confront him, and then get his task to bring 3 passports, the same as last time. Once that's done, you'll get the task to move in Bastion and Clara. Go ahead and do that when you're able to. Then once the truck with speakers moves in, you're going to go ahead and go through the same steps of getting into the controls of the truck and change it over to station 101.9 for Danton. While that's going on, you'll also need to move in General Errol Johnson and go through the tasks to investigate him, tell Danton about him being the butcher, and then kill him with the poison. Then of course you'll eventually be asked to move in Igna, so you'll go ahead and do that. After all that, you'll go through the bomb stuff again, which of course you'll defuse it by cutting the red, green, black, and blue wires and then let the ministry know. And now we'll start the final countdown and we can start cleaning up the rest of the achievements. So a little bit after this, you're gonna get another call to kill Igna Birkenfield. This run will actually talk to her, tell her that they want to kill her, and offer to help. Then once the ministry calls asking about her after she leaves, you're gonna need to use 500 rep to make excuses. And you can also go ahead and move in the Draymans and Walners once able. Now Bastion will eventually have a mission where he asks you to spy on his wife to see if she's cheating on him. And unfortunately, she is cheating on him with his boss. So after you see that, go ahead and let him know and he'll give you the blueprints that he wants you to hold on to. Those just happen to be the blueprints that Meineke wants you to grab, so once you get that, go turn those into him, and if Walner asks about them, just offer $5,000, but don't give them back. And now with all of those done, we can talk to Draymond about the border, go through his steps of finding out the price to leave, and if you need to, go through the process of getting the money from the cockfighting bet and betting on the wise chief. Once you have the money that's needed, you'll talk to Draymond and give him the money to save yourself and your family. The game will end there to get you both what is it good for and make peace and not war for the war ending and ceasefire. This of course is for giving Meineke the blueprints earlier. You'll also get Their Grass is Greener for Carl going abroad. This is from you successfully getting across the border from Draymond. And then you'll get Most Important Thing and Social Unit for all of your family being alive. You'll take Anna and Martha with you, and Patrick will be with his girlfriend and her family. This entire playthrough was spent making sure they'd all make it out to be alive, so do everything you saw in this second playthrough in order to get this one. And with that, we have all of the base game achievements in Beholder. Stay tuned for the Blissful Sleep DLC achievement guide next week to finish the game out, and in the meantime, check out some of my other achievement guides.